Hello, we are the Black Templar team, here to discuss the post-mortem of our game, Project AYM. For those who don't know what AYM stands for, it's Avoid Your Movements. It originates to over a year back, in Project and Portfolio 1. Back then, it was a simple vector game project that I created. The premise was to get to the exit without getting caught by the enemies that surround you. The catch was that the enemies essentially copied your movement. They would move based on a player's input, but relative to their forward direction. Cut to over a year later, and this project actually comes full circle. The premise is still the same, but because we accommodated the gameplay style to be similar to that of Hitman Go, it is now a grid-based 3D puzzle game with a whole lot more mechanics. We have our enemy variations: opposite, sentry, shadow. We have boxes that can be pushed or pulled and can stun enemies under certain situations. We have our teleporters, pressure plates, spotlights, and other useful mechanics. There were multiple things we wanted to add to this game, but as the process goes, we can only keep a certain amount.
Overall, we were able to keep the game's core ideas pretty close to what we originally planned on. It's still a puzzle game, and the main mechanic still remains as the heart and soul of the game. However, we did make some pretty decent changes over the past few months. We removed a large amount of the game's mechanics such as the elevator, the slider, and the spike block. We learned that it's best to keep puzzle games simple as to prevent the player from feeling overwhelmed or annoyed with what felt like busy work. We messed with the grid movement a few times too, originally trying to make it a full grid prefab, but we immediately realized it wasn't good for level design, so we scrapped that and decided to rely on the points instead of the entire grid. We then tried to create an entirely new point system since the current one was frequently crashing Unity in play. However, we were already in the middle of Capstone, and too many of our scripts relied on the current movement system. It basically felt like a house of cards, so we figured it was best just to revamp it rather than replace it. We also messed around with the cameras a lot, trying to figure out the best view for the player to comfortably solve our puzzles since they vary in size. We tried different angles such as a 45-degree angle or the basic top-down angle. We tried orthographic and perspective views. We allowed for split screen for different levels, a mini map to give a proper view of the entire level. At one point early on, we also tried allowing the player to switch between close-up and full map. Even now, we're still adjusting the camera to best fit the levels.
Throughout the entirety of this project, we have all grown as designers and have had to wear a lot of different hats, some bringing us outside of our comfort zone, but it was a great overall learning experience. We've all had to be programmers, UI designers, level designers, etc., learning how to do things like save systems, using binary formatters, and UI interactions, and design, and proper audio systems. We have also learned a better way to communicate with not only each other, but also our outsourced artists. Each of us having to learn to properly design challenging yet engaging puzzles and give players proper feedback. Finally, we want to give a special thanks to our art team, all of our professors, and all of our classmates and friends. Thank you.